All right, hey guys, welcome to another special feature episode of the Boss Babes. I am super excited to join you all here tonight. I cannot wait to talk about some positivity. Obviously, there's been a lot going on in the world. So Deanna and I, my very gorgeous co-host, are here to help spread some positivity and rock our Boston. I'm wearing my Take Me to Fenway shirt. She's rocking her Boston Bruins hat because you guys all know that we love sports. That's why I love having her co-host. Deanna, how are you, girl?
I'm doing pretty good, but I'm a little upset to hear about what's going on in our city that we love so much. But I'm also upset to hear about what's going on in the world. So I've been better, but I am having a pretty good day today, I will say.
That's good to hear that. And I know you just mentioned what's been going on in the world. What is your take on what's been happening as far as not just the looting and the rioting that's been going on in Boston, but basically all across the United States?
I think I totally understand why everything's happening. I understand why people are doing what they're doing. The protesters, at least, they did a really nice job at the peaceful protesting. I feel really bad for the people that are taking advantage of the situation. But I definitely just want to pray for the victim's family and all their friends and the Black community. And I totally understand, why they would do that. I'll never really understand how they feel, but I understand what's going on. And, we stand with them here.
And I completely agree with you. I completely understand why people are protesting. I like that they are doing it peacefully. Of course, that's part of your human rights. And part of the Constitution is for you to voice your opinion and voice what's going on and stand up for your rights. So I totally understand the peaceful part of it. But what I don't understand is, and again, I know this is sort of a conspiracy, but people are starting to say that after the peaceful protests are over, that they're sending in a whole other Boston group of people that are totally just smashing things up and looting. And to me, last night when I was following the news, and I know we're going to keep this brief, that way we're not getting too political, of course. We are not political rights activists or anything like that, but of course I need to speak my mind on this because we love the city of Boston. But I just wanted to point out the fact that even our own mayor, I believe, straight up said, people from Boston would not be acting like this. We are too prideful of our city. Whole looting and ruining Newberry Street, ruining Copley Square. I heard that they were trying to break into the aquarium. That to me does not sound like the Boston strong people that we normally are. Deanna, what do you think about that whole situation?
I agree. I think that everyone's going through so much right now with the pandemic and the multitude of things that are just happening right now that I totally understand the anger people are going through and the need to be heard. And I feel like their peaceful protests obviously aren't being heard. So I get the need to do that, but there are some people that are just completely taking advantage. These, poor store owners are not the problem. They're not the people, who are hurting anybody. And the only people getting hurt now are the people in the streets and the people who have worked so hard to have businesses, and people are just destroying our city. It's very sad. It's sad to see.
I completely agree with you. And I'm hoping that if these protests do continue, that the rioting starts to slow down a little bit. Again, do it peacefully. We understand, we hear your voices. And again, please do not wreck your own cities, or I hope that nobody is getting busted to ruin other people's cities. Switching on over slightly, I just want to point out that I love that some Boston sports athletes actually currently are speaking out. Enes Kanter, I absolutely love him. I did a really great interview with him about a week ago. He's all about speaking out, using his platform and speaking about freedom. I will be dropping his interview shortly, hopefully within the next week or so. But Enes Kanter was seen out talking about these topics. I know Jaylen Brown was traveling. I know Marcus Smart. So a lot of Boston Celtics players are getting out there and speaking their minds, and I love seeing that. What do you think about some of these Celtics players getting out there and speaking their mind?
I think that's awesome that they're using their voices for such a good platform. And there's not a lot of people that I would think would do that. And I think it's awesome. I saw them taking some pictures with fans as well, which I'm sure brightened up some people, some of the way people feel, that day. I'm sure everyone who was there is very deeply touched and affected by what's going on. So it was really nice of them to step in and make it right and also see some fans and do a nice thing for them.
I want to switch over to obviously COVID-19. We've been dealing with that whole situation. Bailey Medeiros, who's actually going to be a special guest on our show next Monday, June 8th. She's a former Patriots cheerleader. She's actually dating a Patriots player. I just wanted to lightly talk about the fact that about a month or so ago, both her and her boyfriend went out to various hospitals in the Boston area, and they gave out flowers and food, which I think is super sweet and super kind. And I know you and I are super excited to talk to Bailey. I think you are actually friends with Bailey, or you know of her. What do you think about her and Jake actually giving back to the city of Boston?
I think it's awesome. I haven't really gotten to know Bailey too well. I just know her from when we competed in Miss Mass. She was Miss Mass Teen USA this year, the first year I competed. And she's a beautiful girl. She's so, well poised. I won't get too much into her because I know we're probably going to interview her very soon. And I know she has her own charity, but she definitely seems like a great, strong woman who just wants to give back, and she wants to help, and she's so intelligent. And I'm just happy to see, more women that are coming into the game, to give back and to educate people and use their intelligence and their voice, for better things. And I think it's awesome that her and Jake Bailey went around the hospitals. Our nurses and people are working so hard. Our doctors, our techs, everybody, in the systems, janitors, everybody, deserves that round of applause. And that was nice of them to go out of their way to do that.
And very shortly, guys, stay tuned. I'm so excited. We are going to be announcing our special guest who's going to be joining us shortly. She's actually a ice hockey female star, went to Boston University from the Boston area, going to be playing professional hockey right in the Boston area. We are going to be getting to her shortly. So lightly talk about the McCourty twins. I'm actually deeply saddened. One of the McCourty twins recently posted that their wife recently lost a child. They had a stillbirth, so I wanted to lightly talk about that only because I personally love the McCourty twins. I got to interview them over the fall. They talked all about their charity work that they do, and a lot they are involved with the New England Patriots. We are sending our love and our light to that family. And on top of that, switching over to something more positive, the McCourty twins recently donated over $90,000 worth of Chromebooks. And I know that I recently talked about it with Devin Walker on the last episode, but I think it's absolutely incredible that they donated over $90,000 worth of Chromebooks to needy students in New York that didn't have access to computers, that had to do schooling back home.
I think it's amazing. Education is key. I actually was watching the news today, and a lot of kids are coming through trying to, do something right by their teachers, because a lot of kids are really missing their education. And I think that's just so important these days for the kids to be well educated and have access to all the tools they need. And now everyone's trying to do schooling from home. And I just can't imagine how difficult it is to focus. I mean, I've been working from home. I'm usually on the road a little bit. So it hasn't been too much of a transition, but it's definitely difficult to focus at home. And I know these students are missing their teachers. So if they were able to give some tools back to them to make it a little easier to continue their education, I think that's amazing. And we appreciate that so much.
I completely agree with all that. We'd love to see the McCourty twins, Bailey Medeiros giving back, the Patriots giving back, everybody coming together and rallying in such a positive light. Before we jump into our special guest, I just wanted to read a really great message from one of our sponsors who I absolutely love. They do a lot of great things for the community. So this is a shout out to the Green Team Junk Removal. It's an essential part of the environment. They're an essential business and practicing all state and federal guidelines with COVID-19 and practicing safe distancing. They don't even need to come inside, leave everything outside for them to take. They recycle, reuse, and donate 80% of what they haul at the Green Team. They are committed to our customers and their local communities by donating to Project Just Because, Fresh Start Housing Bank, Habitat for Humanity, Latin Women Association, and the Epilepsy Foundation. Please contact the Green Team to safely and eco-friendly dispose of your junk at gogreenteamjunk.com or call the number right on the screen, which is 508-361-0519. So that's a great company. I absolutely adore them. They are also local, and they are committed to showing up at your house, taking away anything that you need removed. With all due respect, I am so excited to announce our special guest. So we are going to jump right into Sammy Davis. I'm so happy to have her. We're going to bring her in. And like I mentioned before, she is a hockey star, female athlete. She's rocking her BosBabes t-shirt right now. And what I absolutely adore about her is she's from the Massachusetts area, about to be playing professional hockey here, and she went to Boston University. She was a BU Terrier. How are you, Sammy?
I'm great.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I wanted to jump right into the fact that you actually grew up in Pembroke, Massachusetts. You went to high school locally, and you also went to Boston University. So how was your experience growing up right in Pembroke, Mass, and basically living your whole life here and getting to experience sports right in the city of Boston?
Yeah, I think growing up in the city of Boston, like you have so many athletes, and it's so nice for me because I get to see so many role models, and I get to look up to so many female athletes that kind of came before me and paved the way. So it was really nice. And I'm in Pembroke right now, back at my parents' house, which has been like a very weird transition because I've lived away from home since I was like 14. So yeah, it's just been a very interesting few months.
I know Deanna is a big ice hockey fan as well. We wanted to ask you some quick questions about your family life. How was it growing up, again, in the Boston area? What sports did you partake in? Was it always just ice hockey? Were you a Boston Bruins fan? Kind of just like walk us through your childhood and what got you involved with sports.
Yeah, so I have an older sister that actually played college hockey, and a twin brother that played hockey too, and they kind of like started playing, and I kind of started on figure skates, and I was like, no, I don't want to play. There was not that many opportunities for women, and I grew up playing on a men's team, so it was just it's changed a lot, but it was very, very different back then. So I'm really grateful that I had my siblings and stuff that supported me and kind of like helped me through that. And yeah, my parents were just so great, and we were at the rink on Saturday and Sundays from 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. because you can only imagine. I have two siblings. We play on 2-3 teams each winter on different hockey teams. So we were always being juggled around and passed around and trying to find rides and stuff. And I grew up playing a lot of sports, and I think that that's so important for kids to hear. Like if they want to focus on one sport at a young age, they should play multiple sports. And I grew up playing soccer and lacrosse and softball. And in high school, I went to Tabor, so I boarded there and lived down close to the Cape. And I was a 3-sport athlete. I played field hockey and softball down there and ice hockey. And it's just so important. And I think that sports in general is so great for kids. And it really breaks my heart right now because they're not able to do that. So trying to have kids find ways to really get active right now, I think is so important. So getting outside and stuff is important right now.
Deanna, what do you think about this whole situation? I know that you also grew up in the Boston area, very sporty, very athletic. And how hard is it, do you think, for kids to not be able to play sports and have that specific outlet right now?
I mean, I'm struggling right now, and I don't have half the energy that these kids have these days. But I grew up a 3-sport athlete myself, kind of in the same boat. My older brother played hockey, and I started on figure skates, and then was like, Mom, I don't know if this is for me. Like, let's ditch the dresses, give me some hockey skates, let me try it out. I am no way, shape, or form any bit near as good as you were. I played in like middle school. We didn't even have a high school girls hockey team. So like you were saying, it's difficult for, back then anyway, for females to really break into the more male dominated sports. So, we got a team, I think, when I was a junior in high school, and I was a little invested into gymnastics by then. But I just think it's awesome that you kind of brought up a really great point about how difficult it is for kids right now. I mean, normally they're getting ready for their playoff seasons, or, I guess now it's June, but last month, I feel like I was getting ready to be in my tournaments when I was like a senior, and these seniors just lost out on everything. And, I don't really know how that works with colleges and what they're doing to make up for that or to gauge that. But it's sad. It's sad to see. And, hopefully this can surpass soon and we can get through it.
I agree with both of you girls. Obviously, I grew up very sporty as well, which is why we have this sports show today. And I know how important it is for sports and for kids to have that healthy outlet. Again, you guys are listening to Sammy Davis. She is joining us right now. Super excited. She is from the Massachusetts area, female ice hockey star. Stay tuned. Keep listening in because we are going to be asking her all types of great questions. Sammy, I wanted to jump right into, I like to ask some fun questions. Who are some of your idols as a kid? Did you look up to, I know you're a little bit on the younger side, but I don't know if you followed like Bobby Orr or Ray Bourque or any of the current players like Patrice Bergeron. Did you have any female athletes that you looked up to? Who were some of your athlete stars that got you so hooked on sports at such a young age?
Yeah, I think we always talk about like, if you can see it, you can be it. And like growing up, I was like, I want to play in the NHL. Like that's all we really kind of like had. And I grew up like watching the Bruins. So like I grew up watching Patrice Bergeron and Milan Lucic and Chara and like Tim Thomas and like all of those like Bruins players. And I think that I like loved the Bruins growing up, and those were my role models. But then as I got older and older and like in middle school and end of elementary school and high school, I was like, I started seeing females and seeing them play. And I was like, oh, I want to go to prep school. I want to go play college hockey. And that's when I think some college hockey players like Marie-Philippe Poulin, like she played at BU and she's on Team Canada and she was like a BU star and just such a great leader. And then I think, but from the USA side, like Cami Granato and like Megan Duggan and all like AJ, like those women were really big role models too for me, and college hockey and played sports. And my parents started the high school team in our town. And so I think like my family was such a great motivation for me and a role model. So I was so lucky to be put into such a healthy environment with my family. So I have to give them a lot of credit too.
Love that you had a lot of female influence around you before you got into sports. I think that is super cool because usually you hear people say, oh, I loved watching Bobby Orr, I loved watching Patrice Bergeron, which of course we all love male athletes as well, but I love that you had such a strong female influence. And Deanna, I kind of wanted her to ask this quick question to you. Deanna, what is your question? I love, again, having fun with our special guest.
All right, so what I want to know, little off topic, but also going to be hilarious. Who's your childhood crush? I need to know some backstory on you.
Childhood crush. My childhood celebrity crush. I mean, I like always watched like Ryan Gosling and like Bradley Cooper. Like they were so cute. But now like I love country singers. So like really any country singer that can sing, like Luke Combs, just like, oh, he melts my heart.
I agree with that, honestly. Singer, I hear them sing and I'm like, you know what? I don't even know what you look like or care at this point. I think I love you.
Yeah.
And, yeah, I love that you're into country.
Yeah, like The Notebook, just, I mean, you can't go wrong.
No, you can't. Never.
Or Titanic, like Leonardo DiCaprio, like.
Oh, yeah. Heartthrob City.
Yeah.
Those are some excellent choices. I like that you picked the country singer because what's interesting, I actually interviewed a few weeks ago Lauren Manis. I'm going to be playing professional basketball out in Vegas for the Las Vegas Aces. Mm-hmm. And she actually said that her crush is now Lee Bryce, also a country singer.
Yeah.
So really into the country singers. But switching back into sports, we talked a little bit about your childhood crush, a little bit about your family life. It ended up leading you to ice hockey as your main sport going into high school, because wanting to play in high school, again, it's not really a female-dominated sport. So why did you choose to pick ice hockey of all sports? I know we kind of touched upon it, but can you elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, so I don't know what kind of led me to, I was playing softball too, and I really, really liked softball, but I don't know what it was. I really found a passion for it. I really liked playing ice hockey. I don't know what it was. I loved going to the rink every day. It wasn't a chore for me. It was like an outlet. And I grew up playing on great, like club teams and youth teams. And then my high school team, it just like my coaches were so great and everything. And I just had such a great experience playing, hockey when I was a youth. And I don't know, it kind of clicked, and it just, like, you know, my heart just was in it, and I really liked it, and I still love it, and I still have a passion for it. So
it's awesome. I feel like when you said how you felt like it wasn't a chore to go, I feel like that's when you know you're like, this is my sport, or this is my niche, this is my thing, and you're happy every day to do something. It's like, it's the best feeling in the world. We did have a couple live questions here. I think Chelsea had a couple questions. I see. Hi, Chelsea. She wants to know, what's your favorite hockey movie of all time?
Favorite, of all time. Miracle. I mean, like, hands down.
You girl, I feel you.
Yeah, like you can't.
So
yeah, there's a lot of BU guys, and they came to our like playoff game this year, and they were like celebrating, and it was really great to see them. And they were like, I sat here in the locker room, and it was cool to see them come back and like tell stories and stuff.
It's unbelievable. I should have worn my Miracle hat. That's what I should have put on. But I love that. That's definitely one of my top favorites too.
Speaking of sports movies, I think it's great that we brought this up. I actually think Chelsea posted about this earlier, or somebody recently did. And it's weird because I was talking about this with my boyfriend last night. I was like, you know what? Everybody needs to go put on the movie Remember the Titans and get amped up and realize that the whole segregation and the racial stuff is just absolutely ridiculous, and to remember who we are and come together unified. So I feel like everybody should get out there and start watching some inspirational sports movies, like Miracle, like Rudy, like Remember the Titans. I'm all for it. I love the sports films.
I agree. I say do it. Put them on tonight.
Okay, all right, so I know we talked a lot about high school and sort of why you got into ice hockey. Let's backtrack a little bit before we get into the college stuff. Sammy, you tell us how it was as a child growing up in Pembroke. Did you have a favorite holiday meal as a child? What was it like growing up in the area? Did you have a special Christmas gift? Like, sort of paint the picture so people can learn a little bit about you as a child outside of ice hockey.
Yeah, I think that like ice hockey was obviously a really big part of like my family and childhood. But I have like a pretty small family, and I don't really have like a lot of like first cousins. So our holidays like looked pretty small. Like we had our grandparents over and stuff, and we just had like small like holiday celebrations. But we usually, Thanksgiving is like a big time, and my mom's like a very, very good cook and stuff. So she always makes it the full blown like turkey Thanksgiving meal and stuff. And Christmas is the same way. And usually Christmas Eve, we actually do have a really big party with my like second and third cousins. So that's always like a lot of fun. But yeah, I mean, outside of hockey, I think that not just focusing on sports is also important. So I like to do other hobbies. I mean, obviously exercising is like a big part of it, but I like riding my bike, and like right now I've been going for a ton of walks, probably like each night I'll go for a walk, and cooking and baking and stuff, and trying new recipes, and kind of get through this time and stay busy. I mean, I've been pretty busy with school and stuff.
It sounds like you had a great upbringing, and I like that you are staying positive and motivated right now, even though the world is kind of crazy. Again, you guys are listening right now to Sammy Davis, Boston area, grew up right in Pembroke, female ice hockey star. She went to Boston University. We're going to be talking about her time. She's going to be starting up with the Boston Pride, which I'm super excited about. Basically, this woman is an absolute goat of female ice hockey. We are so happy to have her here. Joining me is Deanna Buonomo, one of my good friends and BosBabes co-host. I know, again, we've been talking all about what's been happening in the Boston area, outside of the world. We've been focusing a little bit on some other Boston athletes, what you've been doing behind the scenes, a little bit about high school and growing up in the area. But now we want to switch on over to the big shebang, who dominated there both academically and within sports. So we're going to kick it on off. I know Deanna has a great question that she wants to ask you right now.
All right. So coming out of BU and going number 1 in the overall draft for the NWHL and getting drafted by a hometown team, the Boston Pride, which I already told you my good friend Jill is the captain. She'll be getting on one of these live streams soon as well. Now, I just want to know, how did that, like, can you paint the picture of the day it happened, when you got the call, how you felt? I want to know everything from top to bottom.
Yeah, so I mean, it was so crazy. Obviously, when like you're trying to go play for a team, you know what's gonna happen. So everybody's like, "Did you know ahead of time?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't. I did know like a few days ahead of time. It came down to like the last wire deciding of where I was gonna go play." But they scooped me up, and I guess like how the day unfolded was my parents knew and stuff, and I was at home for part of the day, and then I actually went when the draft started, I was here, and then when I went home, I went into the city to my boyfriend's apartment, and a bunch of like newscasts, like interviews, Nesson and stuff. They did some interviews earlier in the day, and then we were watching it at night, and kind of like everybody was like texting me and stuff, and social media was very crazy. I think it's great because you can have your voice there, but I don't know. I guess I'm like a pretty private person. So it was so great to kind of like get all that like attention and stuff, and just like get the attention for women's sports and women's hockey and stuff, and really talk about that. And it was great. I mean, my family was with me. The people I cared about were surrounded by me, and they helped me make the decision and stuff. So it was a pretty crazy week, to say the least, but it was all good things, especially right now through all this craziness. I think like having that kind of like joy and happiness and stuff was exactly what I needed to take my mind off of everything. So it was perfect.
That's amazing. It's awesome. Congratulations on that. I mean, that's a huge feat. And I love that you always bring in the fact that, you know, you're putting your foot down, you're making your mark for women in sports, and to go number one. I mean, that's just a crazy thing. I just can't even imagine how excited everyone must be for your family, must be so proud of you. And I think other people here are maybe pretty proud of you too. I think Brittany wanted to read off some of your stats, so we get a better idea.
Yeah, we are so proud of you. We love having such a great female athlete come out of the Boston area. So we want to talk about some of your stats now, because we obviously did our research. We obviously love our sports. So we want to hype up the people that are listening right now. So you literally finished college with 66 goals and 76 assists. Finished college with 66 goals, 76 assists. She was the 2019 Beanpot MVP, you guys. The 2019 Beanpot MVP, the Hockey East First Team All-Star. Again, the Hockey East First Team All-Star. And not only did she excel at sports, she excelled in school. You got 2 degrees, is that correct? I don't know what you want to talk about first, because you're absolutely dominating. I don't know if you want to touch upon the sports or the fact that you got 2 degrees while dominating on the ice, but take the ice right now.
Yeah, I mean, like the hockey side, that like all the accolades and stuff, like so great. But honestly, I think like the memories, like just winning the Beanpot in general, that was like, I'll cherish that memory for like the rest of my life. I think that was like such a fun night in college. And my teammates, I love BU hockey, and I love my teammates and my coaches and my staff. I mean, they're just all amazing. And I think that all the things that I did achieve throughout my college career, whether it was on the ice or off the ice, I have to credit my teammates. I mean, they made me a better person, and they made me strive to be the best version of myself on and off the ice. And I think on the academic side, I mean, the same thing. They were pushing me, and I think like I don't have a lot of confidence in like the academic side. Like I felt like I sometimes struggled, and I think that just, I don't know why. That was just who I am. And I think I just really relied on hockey a lot, but I am believing in myself a lot more. And I do think that you can do both, and you can be successful in a sport, and you can work hard at school, and you can do well at school, and you can achieve whatever you want. And educate. Indiana said education is so important earlier in the show, and it is. Like higher education is. I'm so grateful that I had the opportunity to get both those degrees. And yeah, I had a great experience at BU, and my teachers were great and so accommodating of hockey and my goals, like academically and athletically. So it was a great experience.
That's awesome to hear. You're such a strong, not only athlete, but student athlete. I mean, that's what these young girls and even just young people in general really like look up to. And, you know, not a lot of people touch on the sports stuff. You know, a lot of times I hear about professional hockey players and how they came out of Princeton or Yale, and you don't really hear about that much on the ice. And then all of a sudden you kind of take a look into their background. You're like, wow, this person, you know, did really well in school, did well at Harvard. So it's nice to see you're such a role model for a lot of younger people. And you just hit the nail on the head. If you guys put the work in and you guys work hard, you can be whatever you want to be. If you want to be good at sports and school, like just put the work in and you know, you'll get the good results. We did have another question I wanted to ask you from our live stream comments here. I'm not sure if you can see them, but we would like to know, did you ever play floor hockey or roller hockey as well when you're not on the ice? If you have any pointers about anything that you could share with somebody aspiring to be that.
Or I don't really know a lot of like players that play floor hockey or roller hockey. I mean, one of my teammates, like when I was younger, Jinsey Dunn, she played at Ohio State. She just graduated. She played roller hockey and she was like unbelievable. So I think roller hockey would always be so much fun and or floor hockey. But I mean, I grew up playing roller hockey. If I wasn't on my skates on the ice, I was shooting pucks in the driveway, like with my friends, and one of us would dress up as a goalie, and like I would be the shooter, vice versa. Or I would put my twin brother in the net. Like, I mean, I think it's great just being able to play, like do both things, and finding a different outlet and like different methods of training are really great.
Some great advice is basically just to get out there and try out new things, and you never know what you're going to fall in love with as far as a sport or something academically. I think that's some great advice for the people that are listening and also watching, because again, you guys can subscribe to the Boss Babes on iTunes and also Spotify if you guys aren't aware of that yet. I keep popping up the little poster below, but yes, we are on Spotify, we are on iTunes. We've had on many great guests in our show, including the Gronkowski brothers, Paul Stewart, some UFC fighters. Obviously, you guys are listening to Sammy Davis right now, BU star, and about to be starting to play, hopefully sooner than later after COVID is over, with the Boston Pride. Wanted to switch on over and ask you some more questions regarding the Boston Pride. So again, we've already mentioned the fact that you were the #1 overall draft pick, which in itself is a great feat. Obviously, you excelled in school as well, which we've obviously lightly touched upon. Let's talk a little bit about the Boston Pride. And I know that you were selected again, #1. The Pride, I believe, I don't know if it was this season or last season, you can correct me if I'm wrong, the Pride went 23-1. That's a record of all records. Jumping onto a team that has a record like that, you must be super excited. And on top of that, it looks like somebody that was involved with the BU hockey operations really wanted you on the Boston Pride. This person, again, I don't want to butcher their last name, but I believe it's Pilch. We knew what we wanted and we had to get there. Basically, this person worked with the BU hockey operations. I believe they are part of the Boston Pride organization, and they really wanted Sammy Davis on their team. So Sammy, let me ask you, what does it feel like to be a part of a team that has such a great record, and what are your thoughts on having somebody so excited to have you be a part of their organization?
Yeah, I mean, it's so great to kind of like I guess when I was choosing a college, it was the same way. You want to be wanted, and you want to be valued. And I think that I got that out of the Pride, and I saw like how much they wanted me, and they definitely like compromised, and they saw my goals, and they knew like what was important to me, like in life. And that was really what gravitated me towards the Pride and the coaching staff, and just the staff in general. They've just been so great, and it's like a family feel there. And I think that it's going to be great to have some teammates that I used to play with on the team too. So I'm excited to play with them and be close to home and have my family watch me and my friends watch me, and another year of hockey. I think I'm excited about that.
We are very excited as well. We're hoping to go to some games because, again, Deanna and I are big ice hockey fans. We love, again, that you are from the Boston area. So I know we're going to be talking about charity towards the end of the show, but if you have any charity events that are coming up that you're going to be supporting, especially while you are playing, definitely reach out to Deanna or I. We would love to showcase the Boston Pride and showcase what great you guys are putting out into the Boston community. And I know Deanna has a really cool question right now for you. So Deanna, take it away.
Okay, so not only are you a #1 overall draft pick, but it looks like you wear plenty of other hats as well. And part of your degrees, I know we touched on you having 2 degrees, but what we didn't touch on is, if I have this correctly, do we have a doctor in the house? Is this a doctor in occupational therapy? Is that something that you've achieved this year from BU?
So I haven't. I'm going to school next year. So I actually got my bachelor's and my master's. I'm starting my classes to go to NGH for my doctorate. So I'm super excited. It's a 3-year program, so it's kind of a grind. But I mean, the staff and my advisor there have been so great, and they definitely see me and they see what else I what else is important to me outside of school. So that's kind of what gravitated me towards their program, and the program's so great. And my cohort is everybody in my cohort is amazing and supportive, and we're all going through this like very weird time of getting your doctorate degree through Zoom and online and matriculating online, when today was supposed to be like our matriculation and like big day. And so we've kind of just been embracing it and enjoying like the little moments, and we're definitely gonna look back at this time and be like, that was a very weird day that we started MGH, but hopefully in the next 3 years we'll be able to walk across the stage.
That's awesome. And now, did your background in sports and hockey influence this degree at all?
Yeah, so I got injured like my sophomore year, and I hurt my hand, and I went to go see like a hand therapist who was an OT, and I don't know, I just kind of fell in love with it. And she worked with some Boston athletes like the Bruins and the Celtics and the Patriots, and she like made braces and stuff for their gloves. And I was like, no way, that's so cool. And then I looked into it more, and then I started doing kind of internships like all over, I guess, like Mass. And like I also went over to South Africa to do one. And I don't know, I just really fell in love with it. And I just think that health profession and like a helping like profession was just kind of like, it was just me, and mentally and physically, it's like a perfect fit. And I think that like mental health is so important, and that's OTs address that. So that's kind of what gravitated me towards that profession.
I think that's a great choice, especially having something that you can fall back on after your great time, obviously playing professional sports. And then you're still going to obviously be giving back to the community with your degree. So very shortly, guys, again, you all know that with the Boss Babes, we love talking to professional athletes, sports entertainers that have a great background, that are playing professional sports, that chase their dreams. Not only do they perform on the ice, a lot of them, if not all of them, actually perform off the ice by giving back, whether they go visit hospitals or donate Chromebooks like the McCourty twins just recently did, or like Bob Kraft, who recently donated a ton of masks and whatnot during the COVID crisis. You always see people giving back, whether they're marching and spreading their voices like we talked about earlier in this episode. So we want to switch on over and hear a little bit about Sammy Davis and how she gives back to the community. Sammy, I know that you are highly, highly, highly involved with different types of volunteering. I know that you volunteer locally with your team, and you also went to South Africa to work for a nonprofit. So can you talk to us about that whole situation with the nonprofit?
Yeah, I think I try and life is so crazy, and I guess that's no excuse, but I really do try and get involved with like right now doing Zooms and stuff, and just kind of getting involved with like Mass hockey and like my old club team Breakers, and just kind of stay involved with like kids in the community. And if they need somebody to talk to, like I'm here. And yeah, I really like giving back and coaching and stuff. So I really definitely see that on my horizon. But I try and volunteer. My senior year in high school, I volunteered for the Message of Hope Foundation. I did an internship for them. And then I sporadically did some stuff with the Travis Roy Foundation. I still love doing stuff for them. And one of my teammates is really involved with them, so I love helping her out. But I guess previously I went to South Africa for like about 3 to 4 weeks, and last summer in about May, and I just worked for this nonprofit, kids from Cape Town in their townships, and tries to empower them, and we try and be role models for them to kind of see like what else is out there, and that they're not just like held to their township. And Play on Wheels, which is the kids that are very disabled, or they're disabled and they are I worked with them, and I did rehab with them, and I learned from the teachers there and the OTs there, and it was very interesting to see a third world country, kind of how they treat people compared to my internships when I worked at like a hospital here, when you have a lot more resources. And it really just like opened my eyes up to the world, and how grateful I am to be where I am and just be able to go over there and help those children. I mean, I loved it. I definitely want to go back, and I would love to go back and work with the foundation again.
That's amazing. And I know how you said you went down to Cape Town, South Africa. I heard it's absolutely amazing there, breathtaking. But I do also know, I'm sure there's a lot of things down there that we haven't seen. What was maybe your most highest key takeaway from that trip there? What did you learn?
I think that I learned that those kids, if they're given a role model, if they're given somebody that they can see, then they can do it. They can believe it. And they are not given a lot of those role models and a lot of those opportunities. And I guess like recently you've been talking about privilege, and I guess they're not given that and they're not able to see that. So just to be able to see it, and if you can see it, like you can be it, you can do it. And I think that that's just like my biggest takeaway, and kind of just seeing other people's perspectives. And I take that point to college and in the team, and being able to see my teammates' perspectives and other people's perspectives and how they live and their culture. And you can't just, your ways may not be what they believe in, and you need to accept that and just see where they're coming from. So I learned a lot from that trip, and I think it really helped me in the future and just this past year.
And we think that's amazing. Before we wrap up here, guys, we're going to ask a couple more questions about charity work, again, because it's very important to the Boss Babes. We love hearing about how pro athletes give back both on and off the field, or in Sammy's case, on and off the ice. So Sammy, I wanted to ask you, do you have any upcoming charities that people can be on the lookout for? Obviously, I know with COVID-19, no one is really able to do anything live in person. But do you know if the Boston Pride is doing anything online or hosting any virtual races? Because I know the Ray Bork Foundation, my other co-host and I, Emma Lynn Reed, we both took part in the social distance dash you are working on possibly putting together in the future to give back yourself.
NWHL kind of has, like, the Pride has kind of everything on hold right now. But I think that in the season they do a lot of charity events, and I just like community teams and reaching out for them. But I guess in the future, like something, I don't know. I mean, I'm really an advocate for mental health, so I think I'll probably get involved with that. And you guys in the loop, if there's anything that I'm passionate about that I definitely want to get involved in, maybe some coaching. I've been approached by a few people to start a camp, so that's been on my mind, maybe later in the summer, but the rinks are currently closed right now. So, and I don't really know about ice time. So that's something I'm definitely interested in, but I don't know what the future kind of holds.
I guess that's true. I mean, with everything going on right now, everything is kind of on hold, but I do like that you potentially are going to look into getting involved with more charity, getting into mentoring, getting into coaching. You guys right now, you're listening to Sammy Davis. Again, she's from the Boston area, grew up right in Pembroke. Ice hockey, female athlete, superstar. I believe she was actually a co-captain of the BU Terriers. I don't think you mentioned that, but I'm mentioning it now. She is going to be playing with the Boston Pride. If you guys don't know who the Boston Pride are, make sure you look them up. They are a professional women's ice hockey team. We are so excited to check out some of their games this season. Again, guys, the Boston Pride. And before we wrap up, Deanna and I like to have a little bit of fun with our guests. I know we talked all about your background in sports and college and your doctorate, but we want to know some fun, great, awesome little tidbits that you probably don't really talk about that often in interviews. If you have like a funny story that you want to tell us, or something interesting that has happened in a locker room, now is the time. We want to hear you showcase your personality a little bit.
I love to go to the beach and stuff when I have time, and I love to sit by the pool and like sit in the sun. That just it makes me happy. And I was just he's probably gonna kill me, but I was recently out on the boat with my boyfriend, and we went out to this island and we parked the boat for maybe like 5 minutes, got off of it, and he anchored it really quickly, but the tides were going out. So we get back to the boat, and the boat is like basically beached. So now we have to wait 6 hours for the tides to change. We're stuck on an island for like eight hours 2 weekends ago on a Saturday, and it wasn't even that warm. But thank goodness I had like a hoodie and sweatpants. But that was definitely something I will never, ever forget.
I think I actually, well, not that I saw you guys, but were you guys in Laconia near Weirs Beach? Because I saw your posts and I was actually down there with my dog and I actually liked that everything was kind of normalized down there.
Yeah.
Were you down at Lake Winnie?
Yeah, so last weekend I was at Wake, but then actually, fun fact, we go there like every single year with our family. So like love Lake Winnipesaukee, but I was there with some friends. But the weekend before, like went out on the boat, and that was just, we went out like in Plymouth, and like he's a great driver. He fishes. It was just like freak accident, like the landscape, whatever, the island changed, but it was just craziness.
Next time you guys get stranded, hit up Deanna and I will come save you guys.
Yeah.
Deanna has an interesting question that she wants to ask you shortly as well, but I love that. That sounds both scary and funny. It'll be something cute you guys can talk about if you ever get engaged. You could be like, hey, remember that time we got locked together and we were stuck on that island for a couple hours? So there's always something fun to talk about. I know that things happen all the time, and it sounds like you guys did end up making it into a positive situation. Deanna, what is your funny question that you want to ask Sammy?
Okay. So coming off that, which my first question was going to be, where's your favorite vacation place? But that's funny because I guess we have the same one because my family vacation spot was always Lake Winnipesaukee as well. So I'm going to go into my other question is, what was your go-to karaoke song at T's Pub? Because I know you probably have been there because that is one bar. So what's your favorite go-to karaoke song?
Well, I shouldn't say I go to T's Pub, but like RIP, they're closed. So sad. But my go-to karaoke song was Don't Stop Believing.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, the best. Easy. You can scream it. You don't have to sound good.
No.
Yeah.
We should all do a little verse right now. Don't stop believing.
We all might need to sound good on this, but that's okay.
Yeah.
If you are, I bet we sound great.
That's an excellent song choice, though. It always gets the crowd hyped up. And my last question of the night, I wanted to ask you, obviously, being a female athlete, playing professional hockey, if you could play with a group of male professional athletes, like whether it be for one day, of course, like not them check you or anything like that. Obviously, we're not trying to have them get violent. Obviously, you guys are females. If you girls could team up and maybe even do like a charity event with some of the Boston Bruins players, some of the Pittsburgh Penguins players, who would be some of the top people that you would want to host or have a professional ice hockey charity event with? Like,
I mean, I think that like just anybody like on the Bruins are so great. And I mean, I think Charlie McAvoy, great if we could team up and do something. So Charlie, if you see this, we should definitely do something together because I think it's great. We both went to BU and stuff. And yeah, I mean, just any of the Bruins players, that would be really good and good for the NWHL and great for the NHL and the Bruins.
to wrap this up, we're going to have Deanna ask one more great question. And again, you guys are listening to Sammy Davis. We've already mentioned it a couple times, but she's from Massachusetts, ice hockey star, female athlete. We are so excited to see her play for the Boston Pride. Deanna, take it away.
So in sports, I know everyone has a special number. Now, I just wanted to know what number you wore and if there's any background reason where the number came from or anything that it was special to you for any reason, and if it's not the number you're wearing now or where it be you, will it be, what number might you want to get at when you join the Boston Pride?
Yeah, so I've had like so many numbers, and I think I talked about this with somebody else, but I think like number, like I don't usually like keep a number for every single team I play on because I don't know, I think it's like a new chapter and like a new journey. So I think it's really great to kind of like get a new number. I mean, some teams I've overlapped with, but I think like majority of the teams I play on, I tend to have a different number. But I mean, the number that I was in college, I think like when I played for like USA, when I was like U18, I was that number 16 and then 16 was available. And I was like, oh, sure. Like I'll grab that number. And I don't know, I really, really enjoyed it. And then in high school, I wore number 9 and I was the only number available. So yeah, and then growing up, my brother wore number 12 and I wore number 11 and my sister wore number 17. So I grew up on my club team wearing number 17 because I just ended up wearing her jerseys because parents didn't want to get a new new set of jerseys, so those are kind of hand-me-downs. A lot of my gear was hand-me-downs, but yeah, I mean, yeah, I think, and then next year I actually decided I'm wearing number 19, so I guess that's a little sneak peek.
Like that. I like your take on that, the whole let's start a new chapter each time, because a lot of people, I'm one who's stuck with 11 for most of my life, but you know, I definitely get the whole new chapter thing might be a great idea. You can kind of make a new name for yourself, new number for yourself.
Hear from you. Where can people follow you on social media? Obviously, in the future, people, if they want to check out where you're playing Boston Pride, I know you guys play at Warrior Ice Arena, which is actually where the Boston Bruins practice, which is super cool. So you also get to play on the same ice that the Boston Bruins practice on. I believe that rink is right in Brighton. I know the Boston Bruins alumni team also play there pretty frequently for charity events, because I've actually covered some of their events there as well. Where can people find you? Because I know people are going to be excited to follow your ice hockey career.
You can follow me on my Instagram. I think it's like sdavis_16. And then I have a Twitter, and I think that's like Sammy Davis 09. But I guess I guess I'll give a shout out to everybody that's on the front lines right now, and all the essential workers and everybody that's going back to work. Like, please stay safe, and we appreciate you, and everybody keep up the good work. And Boston, I love you, and I'm excited for next year, and thank you guys for having me.
Thank you so much for joining us live. You can follow Deanna Bonomo on social media as well, myself, Brittany Baldy, and the BosBabes, of course. Please subscribe to us on Spotify and iTunes. We have some great guests coming up. Like I said, June 8th, we're going to be having Bailey Medeiros live. She's going to be talking all about her nonprofit, all about the New England Patriots, her time as a cheerleader. And again, keep posted with us, because we will have Sammy Davis back on with us, chatting with us about her time playing professional ice hockey. You guys rock. Thank you so much, and we will see you soon. Boston strong.
BosBabes out.
Woo!